Tonight, despite disturbing allegations from the AG, the health minister says he wouldn't hesitate to have a loved one in personal care.
I would hate people to think that nothing was being done. It's simply that we were very bad at communicating that to the general public.
Missing residents, allegations of abuse, even death. John Haggie weighs in on the state of the province's personal care home program.
I think everybody is wary of what could happen next. America is always going to be our best customer, always going to be our neighbor.
Lobster fishermen have been waiting to exhale. Why the National Council says it continues to ride a wave of uncertainty.
Tanner was pretty excited to get to see the polar bear as well.
Yes, I was.
A polar bear paid a visit to a few communities in the Labrador Straits, an exciting sight to see from a safe distance, of course.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Well, the health minister says his department has been working to improve conditions in nursing homes, but it hasn't done a good job of keeping the public informed. This all comes in the wake of a blistering report from the Auditor General alleging sexual abuse and other instances of neglect. Here and Now's Malone Mullen has the latest.
Feces on the walls, lost medication, a death that could have been prevented. All were revelations contained in this report, released by the province's Auditor General. Health Minister John Haggie spoke to reporters for the first time since its release. He says, in essence, it's not quite as bad as it seems.
In the case of, medication errors, these vary from a patient dropping a pill in their bed and only finding it that night, and that's a medication error, and that's how it's recorded, all the way to people getting the wrong medication and having an adverse side effect.
The report uncovered staffing problems, poor food quality, and issues with the health authority granting licenses to care homes that had broken the rules, including because of concerns about sexual abuse. Haggie says he doesn't know whether police investigated any of those reports. PC critic Barry Pettin says that's not acceptable, and in a press release is demanding that government get law enforcement involved. But Haggie says the real issue isn't that the health department was sitting on its laurels this whole time. It's that it wasn't updating the public when it rolled out changes recommended in a previous audit.
I would hate people to think that nothing was being done. It's simply that we were very bad at communicating that to the general public.
But following this report, changes are in the works. The health authority says it's tapped a new overseer, Craig Davis, to make sure private care homes are following the rules. Haggie says he's demanded an action plan from the health authority, expected on his desk by the end of the month. He'd also like to see licensed care homes post information about complaints and incidents online for the public to see. But the minister maintains most of the 4,000 some elderly residents in care homes are happy and well looked after, despite the report.
Would you personally feel confident tomorrow putting a loved one in one of these personal care homes?
I've got some really good personal care homes in my district. I'd have no trouble.
Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the province says it has no choice but to tear down row houses in the downtown following last week's fire in St. John's. The fire broke out on March 27th here on Livingstone Street at one of 6 row house units owned by Newfoundland and Labrador Housing. Only one of the homes was occupied at the time, but because of the severity of the fire, all 6 will be demolished. The province says contractors have tried to repair the homes, but there were frequent break-ins and vandalism delaying the process. In the interest of public safety, the units will go. Housing says work is underway to build 32 new provincially owned homes on Janeway Place in St. John's and is estimated to be completed this year. Well, construction season is right around the corner, with the province planning to pour $316 million into road repair. The Ministry of Transportation announced this year's list of new road projects yesterday, part of the province's historic $1.4 billion 5-year plan for road improvement. This year, they're pouring in $300 million on over 200 contracts, focusing on the Trans-Canada Highway and other pockets throughout the province. For now, the extent to which Trump's tariffs will affect spending is still to be seen.
Yeah, there's concern across the board. I mean, equipment is a big one. If someone's having to get a truck from the States, or even if it's sourced from Canada, some of those parts are having to come across the borders. That's a big thing that's going to have a big impact if people are making new orders for equipment, I think.
Well, a trial for a man accused of sexually exploiting and abusing vulnerable teens has been delayed once again. Proceedings against Tony Humby were scheduled to start a month ago, but as of today, there's still no clear indication when the trial will get underway. Here now's Ryan Cook reports.
Tony Humby's trial is supposed to be about half over, but instead, his lawyer told the court today he intends to file more applications, pushing back the start date even further. One of the things he intends to file is called a Stinchcomb application, a demand for the Crown to hand over all relevant information. Now, those are filed when there's a belief that the Crown hasn't done that. And for Humby's case, that belief comes from other pretrial applications that were heard behind closed doors, meaning there's very little we can actually report on the reasons for all of this. The prosecutors on the case wanted to start calling witnesses on Monday. Instead, they'll have to pivot to respond to the defense's latest filings. Judge Ralph Pritchard will call the case back next Wednesday, again behind closed doors. There were more than 7 weeks initially allotted for this trial, but there's only 3.5 weeks of scheduled court time remaining to deal with 72 charges related to alleged sexual violence against 12 complainants. Humby was first arrested in April 2023 alongside his friend and neighbor Bruce Escott, who has since pleaded guilty to 7 counts and been sentenced to 13 years. An agreed statement of facts in Escott's case alleged the two men worked together to groom and abuse vulnerable teens. Humby, though, has pleaded not guilty. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, a date for a court battle over the fate of a small church in a staunchly Catholic community on the Southern Avalon has now been set. This is Holy Rosary Church in Portugal Cove South. For months, Catholics in the community have been resisting attempts by the St. John's Archdiocese to sell the property. Last fall, they changed the locks and issued loud warnings to anyone considering buying it. Lawyers for the Archdiocese went to court today. They're seeking an injunction preventing anyone from interfering with the sale, but the community remains defiant. Flush with cash from a recent fundraiser, they've hired lawyer Kyle Reese to fight against the injunction. Both sides will argue their case next month. The Archdiocese needs to raise more than $100 million in order to compensate sexual abuse victims. The church is listed for $37,000.
The miners are a family, and they have to take care of each other.
It's truly an honor as a Newfoundlander to be able to go out there and bring back a representation of all the Newfoundlanders that weren't able to come back.
Love the world around you because it does shimmer with the impossible sometimes made possible.
It's been a turbulent time for those navigating the fishery with unpredictable threats of tariffs from the United States. The lobster fishery saw a sign of relief this week, but as Jeff Irvin tells CBC, it's not over yet.
The immediate fear that it was going to be 25% has gone away. So the fact that it's zero is good news. But I think everybody is wary of what could happen next, given the back and forthness of the tariff threat since sort of January. But we start the spring season with no tariffs with our biggest customer, which is good news. We still have China with 25% on frozen and live lobster. So I would say, I think we're happy after the announcement, but we're still cautious. America is always going to be our best customer, always going to be our neighbor, and our lobster industries are always going to be connected. So we will get through this administration. We'll get through this time, but we will always be linked to America when it comes to lobster and all seafood. So.
Well, Irvin says his group is working to diversify its exports by preparing to sell more of this year's product to markets in Asia and Europe. Well, in other news, the Labrador Straits has seen a recent uptick in traffic this week from passers-by hoping to catch a glimpse of a polar bear spotted in the area. The CBC's Reagan Burden has more.
It's a big bear that's causing quite a bit of buzz. A polar bear has been prowling around communities in the Labrador Straits, and while the animals have been spotted here before, it's a first for cousins Tanner Hancock and Karen Mangrove.
Got a call this morning about 7 o'clock and said the polar bear was in Forto, and my brother came and picked me up. And when we went over, the polar bear was swimming in towards the Forto wharf. So then we got a very good view of the polar bear. It was pretty exciting, actually. And there was a few people out, like Tanner and his dad, out looking for the polar bear. And Tanner was pretty excited to get to see the polar bear as well.
Yes, I was.
Hancock and his dad set out yesterday, hoping to spot the bear, but no luck. Until this morning, when the bear went for a walk by the wharf.
He was a carnivore, which means he eat meat like a pterodactyl. But he had terrible, and he climbed up on the wharf and walked down to the beach. Oh, that was just a funny thing about it.
And the best part of seeing the polar bear for Hancock?
Rolling in the snow and the ice. And scratching his back on the ice. That's my favorite thing.
If you were a polar bear, what would you do first?
I would just play all day long and go to nap and come back home to Forto with my mom and dad.
The Department of Fisheries, Forestry and Agriculture say it's not unusual to see polar bear sightings this time of year, but it's certainly exciting for people like Karen Mangrove and her 4-year-old cousin, Tanner.
Every now and then, usually every winter, there's one coming ashore. Probably like down the Red Bay, they had some down there. I think it was maybe a couple of years ago. But usually you do see a polar bear around here from time to time.
Yeah. A polar bear was heading to the Arctic, but what if if the polar bear did damage to the whole Earth, I would have been happy. If he went to Blanc, he might wreck the whole city.
The Department of Fisheries, Forestry and Agriculture is providing updates on Facebook and says the bear is expected to travel towards the Lansinclair area. It's reminding people who encounter a polar bear to take note of its behavior, stay downwind, and keep distance between you and the animal to stay calm, not run, and avoid direct eye contact. Reagan Burden, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
When we received the van, which Jake named Chewie after Chewbacca in Star Wars, it was an enormous gift to our family.
An enormous gift once given to them that they're now passing on to another family in need, all in the name and the spirit of Jacob Anstey. We'll have that story still to come on Here and Now.
And in the weather forecast, taking a look at our highs today, between 3 degrees here on the southwest coast to -3, -4 for the north coast of the island, and as cool as -11 today in Nain. Taking a look now at how things are shaping up across North America, you can see that this low here that was bringing that snow to us today and into last night is starting to swirl away from us, but there is more weather on the way for Sunday. So let's take a look at a closer look at how things are shaping up. Not too bad. It's going to be fairly clear here in the next little while, but as we go on to tomorrow, it's going to clear, and then we're going to have some weather on Sunday and Monday.
Look at that.
one over there.
Is this good?
Yeah, a little bit more. That felt good.
Therapeutic almost. There's a wrestling ring down there. What's that about?
This is wild. So here's what we've gathered from talking to local residents.
I spoke with a renter who's facing eviction this fall.
It is not for the weak of stomachs. What does it mean for you to be able to give that advice and to know that you've helped? Don't look down.
If this is something that you didn't know about, let me tell you.
Heather Gillis, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
St. John's.
Corner Brook.
Shaji, Innu First Nation.
Grand Falls, Windsor.
New West Valley, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Last summer, Here and Now brought you the story of 11-year-old Jacob Anstey. Ongoing issues with his heart led to brain damage and left him in a wheelchair. Jake died in November, but his community continued to rally around the family, and today they wanted to return the favor. Reporter Jenna Head has the story.
This van was gifted to Jake's family in September to help them adjust to their changing transportation needs.
He's in heaven. It's his first heavenly birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Jake. Happy birthday to you.
Today would have been Jake's 12th birthday. To mark the occasion and honor his memory, his family wanted to do something special. So they're passing on the keys to his wheelchair-accessible van.
Chewy is the van's name, and she's now yours with Jake's heart.
Jake's heart and his story, his struggle, brought a community together, and his family wants that compassion to continue. 6-year-old Avery Reed of Torbay has severe spastic quad cerebral palsy. Jake's van will be a game changer.
What Jake would want is to give it to another child who can have the freedom that he got from the van. So we're so happy and so proud in Jake's name to be able to pass the van along to your family.
It's like we won the lottery. I can't take her many places on my own anymore, so now I think that it'll give us freedom to just go wherever we want to go. We're going to Dairy Queen, that's going to be our first stop.
While the Reeds enjoy some ice cream, Jake's family digs into his birthday cake, having granted someone else's wish and knowing many new memories will be made on the road. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, 50,000 books are up for grabs today and tomorrow at the CFUW's annual Great Big Book Sale. The St. John's chapter of the Canadian Federation of University Women has assembled quite the collection. Proceeds will go towards scholarships and local community groups. We dropped by this morning for an early look at what's on the shelves.
Hi, my name is Joyce Noseworthy, and I'm here at the site of the Great Big Book Sale. We have anywhere between 45 and 50,000 books of all categories, all types. Children's books, adult books, fiction, nonfiction, you name it, we have it. It's quite busy. We actually end up selling just about all of our books. The books which are unsold at the end of the sale can go to charities. If you're a registered charity, you can come and get books for free, sell them on your own, or do whatever you want with them. And what the charities don't take, students with a valid student ID can come and get free books Saturday afternoon.
Hi, my name is Susan, and my role mostly is get all of the signage done for the whole place. So I've been doing that and organizing it. In terms of how much I've done, and there are a lot that have done as much as I have, I would say it's like a full-time job for the last month, really.
My name is Daphne Lilly, and we're here at the CFUW Great Big Book Sale here in Kenmount Road, and I look after the section, the small section of collectibles, and they are all books that were donated to us that have at least a copyright date of 1930 or earlier. So really all the books that are here now for sale are at least 95 years old.
The sale goes on today from 1 till 9 tonight, tomorrow from 10 till 9, and Saturday morning from 10 to 1. Saturday is half-price day. And we have 1 hour extra tomorrow morning from 9 to 10 for people with mobility issues. We're with the Canadian Federation of University Women. The money we earn at the sale goes to scholarships and bursaries at Marine Institute and Memorial University, College of the North Atlantic, and some other places. And it also goes to outreach projects.
Well, Heather, yesterday you weren't kidding about the snow. I woke up this morning, looked out the window, and I was like, whoa, okay, here we go again. Back into winter, it felt like, but there's more on the way, right?
Yeah. We're in this period of time where things oscillate back and forth between spring and winter, and we all woke up to a little bit of a blast of winter. We do have some more on the way, but like towards the end of the weekend. But I want to talk about the totals, the snow that we all woke up to this morning. So we, as of 4:30, we saw 13 centimeters in Cormac, 12 in Deer Lake and Terra Nova. St. John's here, we woke up to about 11 centimeters of snow. We had some snow throughout the day today as well. I feel like every time I looked out the window, I saw a few flurries on and off. 8 centimeters in Gander and 7 in St. Albans. Taking a look at our future tracker now, so a lot of that snow, we're seeing a little bit of flurry here in Labrador, and a lot of it is starting to push offshore now. So we're going to see a clearing trend as we go into the overnight towards midnight. You can see things are starting to improve a little bit, just some clouds sticking around, and it's going to continue to improve into the early morning hours. Now taking a look at our temperatures for tonight, below freezing for pretty much the whole province, into the minus single digits for the island. The winds northeasterly gusting up to 50 here in the east, a little less, but still northerlies 20 to 40 for the west coast, down into the minus double digits for much of Labrador. We will see some flurries for a lot of places in the province, but we will have just some cloudy skies for coastal Labrador for the most part and in St. Anthony, but more cloudy here in St. John's as we do see some of those flurries start to move offshore. Now, as you wake up tomorrow morning, many places will see some cloud, except for here on parts of the southwest and west coast and northern peninsula. You'll see some clearing and some clearing up and through Labrador as we head to lunchtime. And then in the afternoon, things just keep getting better for your Saturday. But we will have some weather, you can see here, start to move back in as we head into late Sunday and then into Monday as we all go back to work. Yes, of course. Taking a look now at our provincial forecast for Saturday afternoon. Let's take a look at the Avalon. So temperatures on the Avalon will between 0 and 1 degree tomorrow on Saturday. So as things start to clear off, it'll still be a little bit chilly. We'll see a little bit more sun for the St. John's area. Could see a flurry there as well, but picking up some more cloud and a flurry for the southern Avalon. As we head into the Bonavista Peninsula, your temperature will be around 1 degree, and we could see some cloudy skies with some flurries for you folks. But as things clear out on the other peninsula here for the Burin Peninsula, look at that, 4 degrees. You're going to have a lovely day and a little bit more sun than everybody else, but not a bad day along much of the south coast of the island. It'll be warmer relatively for you folks. And then for the west coast, you're going to get the best of it as things start to clear out. Look at this, 5 degrees. So that will be absolutely lovely. Light winds as well for the west coast compared to the northerlies. That will bring us those cooler temperatures in the east. Around the freezing mark up along the north coast and for the northern peninsula and Port au Choix there area as well. You'll see some sun and cloud. You won't see the flurries like we will here in the east. Moving on to Labrador now, it looks like you're going to have a lovely day. Your temperatures sitting about where they should be for this time of year. Light winds for western Labrador and for the coast there as well. A bit more cloud for Lab West and sitting at the 0 mark. A touch cooler in Churchill Falls, and not a bad day at 3 degrees with some sun and cloud in Happy Valley Goose Bay, a mix of sun and cloud on the coast with temperatures ranging between 0 degrees and minus 4 degrees. So not a bad day for the province. Sunday looking like a pretty good and calm day as well, but we will have some of that weather moving in the evening, and that could actually bring some freezing rain to parts of the south coast Sunday into Monday, especially areas over higher terrain. Carolyn will have your long range a little later in the show.
was great records out in the trad era. The Irish Descendants had Southern Shore. The Punters came out with Beautiful Star.
What do the rooms, the shed, and a gazebo all have in common? The answer is the year 2005. We're diving into the local music scene with your ultimate weekend playlist, a blast from the past that's still to come. Returning now to our top story and the alarming findings in the Auditor General's report about personal care homes in this province. Reports of filthy living conditions, abuse, and even resident deaths. Well, today, Health Services CEO Pat Parfrey and Health Minister John Haggie spoke about some of the issues and possible solutions highlighted in the report.
In regards to those kind of stories, those serious incidents, none of them are acceptable. There is no acceptable number at all of those. I think it's important to use this opportunity to point out that each of those serious incidents was flagged was flagged for NLHS and the department and was responded to promptly and appropriately. The AG is right, however, our documentation of that is inadequate, and we've already started down the road of improving that. In principle, we've been working on these in some detail for some time, and in actual fact, what isn't apparent, because we again failed to publish them on the internet, is that we've had updated standards rolling out since 2019. There was a break for COVID, and then after that, in the light of COVID and in light of new standards from Canadian Standards Agency and HSO, some of these have been reworked. So it's a little bit slower than we'd wanted. But I think you'll find there are at least 6 that have been updated. There's 3 more in the hopper. So work has been going on. I think the new thing from my point of view is on receipt of this report, we've been in touch with NLHS. They have oversight for the personal care home program, and I want them and the department to work together to develop an action plan. And I want this action plan within the next month or so. And this will provide an action plan from NLHS along with quarterly updates. So that's kind of an oversight at a departmental level, and that is new. There are other areas of progress within the report that are based on previous reports, for example, about assessments and things, and we put money into the NLHS to deal with those staffing issues, for example, to help assessments. So I would hate people to think that nothing was being done. It's simply that we were very bad at communicating that to the general public. The homes obviously have been made aware as each step's rolled out.
What's happening is that our demographics have caught up with us. When we've got a much higher proportion of elderly than we had 30 years ago, it's gone up by over 100%. And elderly people require more health care, both in the community and in the hospital system. So our capacity to be able to change and be able to provide the human resources and the facilities is without a doubt being challenged at the present moment. Difficult situation for us because the personal care home don't have skilled staff. So when they see a clinical problem that's a concern to them, they call for an ambulance and send them to the emergency room. And then when the problem is dealt with or not, if they refuse to take them back, then we have to admit them, and we're then left with a big problem in trying to determine long-term care. We have been discussing a solution that revolves around how we use ambulances and how we use central dispatch to communicate with central dispatch staff by nurses and doctors to be able to communicate with the personal care homes about how to help them with the problems that arise, and we're hoping that will diffuse the problem to some extent. People who come from personal care homes into an emergency room and then they're not able to go back to the personal care home, NLHS is left with the problem about how to put them in appropriate housing, and that often is long-term care. And long-term care is 98% full, so it definitely leads to problems with what we call alternate level of care, i.e. we have people in hospital who do not require acute care. They're getting other types of care that the hospital is not actually equipped for which the long-term care centre is much better equipped.
Skidoos, skidoos, trikes and bikes, Goodbye Rock and Roll Band. Those are just 2 hometown tunes that made a mark in the year 2005. Yes, 20 years ago. Weekend AM host Heather Barrett and her music panel have come up with your ultimate weekend playlist loaded with local music.
25 songs made in this province that represent the first 25 years of the century. And right now we are at the year 2005. And that was the year the Rooms opened in St. John's. What were you looking at and what did you finally choose?
We had Buddy West's name in the shed.
In me shed, me lovely little shed.
Mark Bragg put out beer music with some great tunes. Gazebo Unit.
Remember Gazebo Unit?
Oh, Trikes and Bikes.
Trikes and Bikes. Skidoo, skidoos.
Skidoo, Trikes and Bikes.
Skidoo, Trikes and Bikes. At the gazebo, we likes to fight. This is what we do up in Airport Heights.
That was up there, right? We
almost had it.
We almost used that one.
Yeah.
So what did you choose in the end?
The Novaks.
The Novaks.
The Novaks, song title Goodbye Rock and Roll Band.
Goodbye, rock and roll band.
You know, some of these songs did a good stint on commercial radio, and that was one of them.
Yeah, that was played constantly on our local radio as well.
I feel like that was another one where we kind of were like, we talked about a bunch of songs with them.
And
that one, when that came up, we were all like, I think it's.
It's the year 2006. Facebook was open to everyone over the age of 13 with a valid email address. The Brad Guzzu curling rink won gold at the Winter Olympics. What Newfoundland and Labrador music were you looking at in 2006?
Rex Gowdy was on the go that year.
I'm just a guy who's in love with a girl not in front of me.
Amelia Curran's album War Brides, her song Scattered and Small was an excellent song.
Oh, I was so alone, I'm scattered and small.
The Punters had songs for Sunday morning. Hey Rosetta had Plan Your Escape. It was another huge year.
All right, so what did you come up with for 2006 in the end?
We picked The Flag of Newfoundland by Shanny Gannock.
Fling out the flag over creek and cray, pink, white, and green, so fair, so grand.
The album is Fling Out the Flag, and I really think that, like, with all the stuff going on politically at the time, I think that was such an important record, and I just think that it was like a real bolster for Newfoundlanders when they came out with this song, and it's like as soon as it came on the radio, it got a lot of airplay, and as soon as it came on, like I don't know, I just was like felt really like a strong Newfoundlander and Labradorian. I don't know.
It's the year 2007. The iPhone was revealed to the world in June of that year. The White Stripes played in St. John's. It was the final stop of their tour of the provinces and territories of Canada. I think they did like their shortest surprise performance ever on George Street, like a one-note
concert.
What were you guys going through in terms of local music for this year?
There was great records out in the trad era. The Irish Descendants had Southern Shore. The Punters came out with Beautiful Star, but this one topped our list.
Waltz Around the Cape by Jim Payne and Fergus O'Byrne.
I dreamed we were waltzing round the Cape. I held you gently in my arms.
Jim Payne has kind of proved himself as like one of the essential Newfoundland songwriters, and like should be in the conversation with people like Ron Hines.
Absolutely.
We're talking about the year 2008 now, and in May, Leonard Cohen played a series of sold-out shows at the Holy Heart Theatre in St. John's. Bandcamp started. Essential right now for independent musicians. What were you digging through in terms of Newfoundland and Labrador music in 2008, Richie?
We had thoughts of Donnie Dunphy, of
having a time.
Having a time.
If you got beef with Dunphy, I wouldn't be so inclined, 'cause I'm not frigging around, and I'm just having a time, having a time, having a time. That's what I said, I'm just having a time.
Liz Solo had Alien that year as well. Graham Wells' record, traditional music from Newfoundland, that is a great record as well. The Idlers, their record came out, Corner.
So what did you come up with for 2008 in the end?
The Flummies, song title Tishialuk Girls. Is that
Tishialuk Girls?
Yep, from the album This Is the Life for Me.
Tishialuk girls are neat and tidy. Tishialuk girls, the one last one. Tishialuk girls have come in handy when Sam Cove is dead and gone.
Everyone should go try to find it and listen to it. It's so good.
Such an elusive band, though. You try to look them up on the internet.
Yeah.
And there's not much information on them at all. But
that's right.
You'll see these old YouTube videos of them performing at a house party or something.
Yes, exactly. There's not a lot, but you can actually go on their website and get their music. So.
Okay. In 2009, the highest grossing film was Avatar, and Michael Bublé topped the Canadian album charts with Crazy Love. Here in Newfoundland and Labrador in 2009, what kind of music were we listening to, and what really stood out for you guys?
This was another year where we kind of looked at the list and went, we'd pick the song right away.
Amelia Curran, The Mistress from Hunter x Hunter.
Hello, it's me, the mistress. Is there anybody home? 'Cause the last place I should be is sitting here alone.
It's such a well-written song. I mean, it really is such a beautifully crafted song, and I think that a lot of people can relate to it. She also had Bye Bye Montreal off that same record, right?
Yeah, she was almost competing
with herself.
What do you think? What song made in Newfoundland and Labrador from 2005 to 2009 stands out to you? What would you include on the NL25 playlist? You can email us, nl25playlist@cbc.ca.
A number of military artifacts tucked away in a basement on Prince Edward Island will soon find a new home. The PEI Regiment Museum plans to pour through the boxes of uniforms and photographs so a generation's stories aren't forgotten. The CBC's Connor Lamont reports.
Relics forgotten.
You're kind of like in a chronic state of, shall we say, losing what was valuable to us. Like we're losing what's valuable to in our society.
Seeing that makes me feel terrible. I don't even want to come down and see it.
Space is getting tight here. Dalton actually stores many boxes of artifacts at his own home, along with dozens of his friends. It would mean a lot to see the items properly displayed for people to see.
Oh, I'd be so excited I'd throw away my cane. You know, it's a passion that my peers are just hoping that before they pass away, that this is done, because we're at a crossroads now, and we got to do the right thing.
PEI Regiment Museum is answering the call for help. It plans to go through the boxes, catalog everything, and bring it to the Summerside Armory for safekeeping. Some items may also be taken to the museum in Charlottetown to share more of PEI's military history with Islanders.
You don't want people to think that you're not taking it, so you take it and you weed through it, and it's important to tell the story. And I mean, like all stories are important to tell.
Gallant says it will likely take weeks to go through all of the boxes. As for Dalton, he wants a museum in Summerside to put some of the artifacts so that younger generations can learn about the area's military history. Connor Lamont, CBC News, Summerside.
Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Happy anniversary to Wayne and Hertha Blackwood. They're celebrating a golden anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Bill and Elsie Gilbert in Clarenville. They've been together for 61 years. Happy 60th anniversary to Grace and Weldon Moland from Musgrave Harbor. Congratulations to Jerry and Stella Fudge on 61 years of marriage. They're from Galtus and now live in Gander. Happy 64th anniversary to Deacon Herb and Mildred Park. They're living in Margaree. Best wishes to Violet and Simon Strugnall, who are celebrating their 62nd anniversary. Congratulations to Carl and Elizabeth Hooper. Your girls want to wish you a happy 55th anniversary. Wishing Anne and Patrick O'Rourke of Outer Cove a happy 60th anniversary with love from your family and friends. Happy 55th anniversary to Dave and Stella White from Knowles Pond. They're celebrating today. Gerald and Helen Stride of Lewisport are also celebrating their anniversary today. It's their 62nd. Congratulations to Ida and Wes Thompson of Botwood, who will celebrate their 64th anniversary on Sunday. Happy 56th anniversary tomorrow to Carrie and Patsy Manuel of Lewisport. Happy 67th anniversary on April 7th to Wilson and Audrey Stoyles of Goobies. Happy anniversary to Bob and Louise Kosh. Their 62nd anniversary is tomorrow. Wishing Marilyn and Bill Morris of Charlottetown a very happy 50th anniversary coming up on Monday. Happy 50th anniversary to Caroline and George Chapman of Brooklyn, Bonavista Bay. Happy 55th anniversary to Winston and Evelyn Hudson of Pooch Cove with love from your family and friends. Now to some birthdays. Happy 90th birthday to Stan Legg of Heart's Delight, Islington. Rose Mason of Avondale is celebrating her 90th birthday. Greetings from family and friends. Birthday greetings going out to Mary Clark of Charlottetown, Labrador. She just turned 92. Happy 91st birthday to Alfred Sharp in Mount Pearl. Wishing Annie Marie Drover a happy 97th birthday from your family and friends. Birthday greetings going out to Mary Sims of Hermitage, who celebrated her 92nd birthday yesterday. Best wishes to Violet Chappell of Virgin Arm, who's celebrating her 90th birthday. Wishing Belle Kiley of Point LaHaye, now living in CBS, a happy 92nd birthday. Rita Offrey just turned 91 in Port Saunders. Happy birthday. Birthday greetings going out to Fred Piercy of Conception Bay South, who's turning 92. Wishing Rita Barber of Gander a happy 95th birthday from your family and friends. And wishing a very happy 90th birthday to Mercedes Burke from St. John's. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again to everyone celebrating. And Heather, yesterday you mentioned that of the 2 days on the weekend, Saturday is the day to kind of get out and enjoy the outdoors. Is that still the case?
Still the case here for the East Coast, but if you're maybe on the southwest coast of the island, it looks like on Sunday you'll get some weather moving in. So it's kind of a mixed bag because it starts in the west and then moves across the island. So it's like not everyone will have the best weather at the exact same time.
Right.
But let's take a look at what we can expect. You can see here Saturday evening, the clearing that we're going to experience tomorrow will still be with us in the evening, just cloud up across Labrador. Clearer skies for the northern peninsula and the west coast and through parts of central, but we'll still have some cloud sticking around here in the east coast. But as we move into Sunday in the overnight, we could pick up some snow here for western Labrador, and all of this is going to move across the island Sunday and into the afternoon. So for the morning time, if you're on the southwest or west coast, would be the good time to do anything when those clear skies are around before this comes your way and comes across Labrador there as well. So let's take a closer look now. It'll move across the island in the evening. It could bring some freezing rain to some places as well. Taking a look at our Sunday now, we see a lot of cloud icons here. So flurries here in Labrador with our temperatures not so bad. For this time of year, between 0 degrees here and -3 in Nain, which isn't too bad for the big land for this time of year. Here on the island, our temperatures, not a huge range in temperatures either, really, between 0 and 3 degrees. We'll see a little bit more sun in the east as that system departs, and we see a little bit of clear skies before all of this moves back in. And then Sunday evening, we'll see this system start to depart. It'll continue to move across the island, and then there'll be some clearing, and behind that for Monday morning, you'll see some mix of sun and cloud there, and things getting nicer, especially for the eastern part of the island on Monday evening. Taking a look at your Monday now, it's going to be a much warmer day in the east. We'll see 6 degrees here in St. John, so a warm up and some rain, some precipitation. As warm as 9 degrees through central with cloudy skies, so nearing double digits, so it'll be a pretty nice day for you folks. 6 degrees, some rain for Marystown. But cooler on the west coast at just 1 degree, significantly cooler from central and the east coast of the island. And in Labrador, our temperatures will be down into the freezer, of course. Taking a look at our 5-day now, you see those 2 warm-ups on Tuesday and Wednesday. Moving on to central and western Newfoundland. For the west coast, Sunday, Monday, not looking great. Tuesday looking decent, and seeing some precipitation and a warm-up there in the beginning of the week for central Newfoundland on up into Labrador now. Not a bad string of weather there for western Labrador to start off your work week, and things fairly quiet for eastern Labrador there as well. Taking a look at our picture of the day. Here we go. This one comes from Renews, and it was before we got the snow. And this is this is from Lorraine Windsor, and I just love the color blue in this. The water is just such a vibrant color.
It is.
Thank you for this photo. So it was, I guess it was the calm before the snow. I couldn't really call it a storm, but the calm before the snow.
Yeah, probably looks very different there today.
Yeah, you might have a sprinkling of white to mix in with that blue there.
Thank you so much, Lorraine, for sending that in. And that's it for us on this Friday. Weekend's here. Hope you have a great one. Thank you so much for watching.
Happy Friday. Good night.